With Ray, there was never any long discussions about anything. He just rang me up. He said, well, you know, you're playing this role. I mean, we just dropped everything and just turned up, you know, because that's the kind of effect Ray had on us. I met him when I was 13, and he was very tall. He had this wonderful booming voice, although his eyes always twinkled and one didn't feel scared of him. He was more like a mentor or a father figure, really, then. And then slowly I got to know him and started relaxing a little bit more with him. But even then, I couldn't really become a pal like I was with Soumitra. You know, we would joke and laugh and sit together. But Manikda we treated with a lot of deference.
Excuse me. Act autograph.
Ray said, you might look a little young compared to Uttam Kumar, so I want to give you glasses. So I said, well, am I long-sighted or am I short-sighted? So he was extremely amused. He suddenly did a double take. He said, oh, you started thinking about your roles. I'm glad that, you know, this has happened. I think it was not because I was looking younger. I think he gave me glasses because at the last scene, when I take off my glasses and he notices my eyes.
Bare, chashma khulle apne ko to best dekha hai?
I think it was because of that. But he didn't want me to be conscious that I had pretty eyes. So.
Shunun. Apni বিবেকের ভূমিকায় খুব ভালো অভিনয় করতে পারবেন।
বিবেকটা কি খারাপ জিনিস?
I'm playing the conscience in the film. I feel that he's just a star and I really don't think much of him. But then slowly, as I discover the man, I have empathy for him. Ray would create a character that you could identify with. Something you could understand and relate to. Like the bored housewife in Charulata, the young teenager in the trilogy who's in his conflict with tradition and modernity, the ambitious corporate guy in Simabad and his conflict with ethics and ambition, the feudal landlord in Jalsaghar who would rather break than bend. Now, these characters, we've seen them somewhere, and you can identify and relate to these characters. So, you know, he didn't make very obscure films. His films had relevance, and you could understand them.
Action!
Before Ray, the acting was very theatrical, the dialogues were very bookish, background music was loud music playing. Like melodies. He made it natural and he made the language more colloquial, the way Bengali is spoken.
বঙ্কিম লিখেছেন যে সেকালে ছেলেরা বাপের সামনে গলা তুলতো না।
না তুললেও একটা সামঞ্জস্য থাকবে বই কি। আমি জল বলবো তুমি তেল বলবে, দুটো মিশ খাবে কি করে? আর তাছাড়া কণ্ঠস্বরটা অবহেলা করার জিনিস নয়। তুমি তো স্টেজে অভিনয় করেছো।
ঘরবর্তী লোকের সামনে আমাকে অপমান করতে ভদ্রলোক বিন্দু মাত্র দ্বিধা করলেন না। প্রবীণ অভিনেতা, তাই আমিও সেটা হজম করে গেলাম, যদিও মনে মনে জানতাম যে ওর অভিনয়ের স্টাইলটা ভুল।
The acting became much more natural and less manipulative, less theatrical. Those days, the popular belief was that the commercial cinema and parallel cinema did not mix and should not mix. In fact, people were very vocal about it, that he had taken a matinee idol, as they were called then, Uttam Kumar, to play the main lead. But he said that I wanted to take him because there would have been an instant acceptance and recognition. He didn't want to waste time convincing people this is a star because Uttam Kumar was the star. And that's what he achieved. Even Uttam, even in this film, walks like a star. You know, there is that confidence of his movement. And Uttam, of course, was very quiet. We would chat and things. But I had worked with Uttam in another film just before that. So he was not completely, you know, Nayak wasn't my first film with him. he learned from Ray, I think, because there's this particular scene towards the end when he's standing near the open doorway of the train and he's inebriated. And that particular scene, Manikda acted out and showed it to him. This is how I wanted it. And I was just standing there. And Uttam could do only 50% or 60% of what Manikda did. And yet he was so good.
জানেন একজন বিবাহিতা
কোনো প্রয়োজন নেই অরিন্দম বাবু।
কি বলছেন প্রয়োজন নেই? আমার প্রয়োজন আছে। আমার
কি প্রয়োজন?
সব জমে আছে এখানে। একটা লোক নেই যাকে বলি।
In fact, he would direct the professionals a bit more than us, newcomers, because he just let us be for some reason. And maybe he worked within our limitations, I don't know. Or maybe he thought that if he directed us too much, we would get nervous or lose our confidence. There was never more than one take or maximum 2 takes, because again, economics played a very big role. But even then, he didn't believe in too many takes because he came prepared on the set. And he couldn't afford, most of his films would be 30 to 40 days maximum. His scripts were handwritten, with all the directions also handwritten, and sometimes illustrated. His own script had illustration of each frame and how he would like to shoot. The structure of the film is very interesting, and it's a very restrained film. He brings so many families, so many characters together in a confined space.
আপনি কি জানেন মদ্যপান করবেন?
আগে সেকেন্ড নেচার তো বুঝতেই পাচ্ছেন।
তবে আপনাকে আমার একটা জানিয়ে রাখার কর্তব্য যে অ্যালকোহলের গন্ধে আমার নসিয়া ফিল করি।
Everybody in that train is starstruck. Either they are rubbishing him or they are being very influenced or attracted to him. Only the young girl is being natural with him. He creates this ideal situation of romance and then stalls it.
ছেড়ে ফেললেন যে? মন থেকে লিখবেন নাকি?
মনে রেখে দেব। চলি। নমস্কার।
So it's all those little things makes it very interesting, and it's also a very moralistic film. It questions friendship.
মানে তোর কি হয়েছে জানিস, তোর এই নাটক ফাটক নিয়ে তুই এমন একটা কল্পনার জগতের মধ্যে রয়ে গেছিস যে বাস্তব জগতের সঙ্গে তোর ঠিক পরিচয় ঘটছে না।
বটে।
হ্যাঁ।
Extramarital relationships.
All you have to be is a little nice dream. একটু কাছে গিয়ে বসা, হেসে দুটো মিষ্টি কথা বলা, বুঝতেই পারছো?
পারছি।
তোমার স্বামীর জন্য তুমি এতটুকু করতে পারবে না?
Many other issues, professionalism and all that. So I think this was the time that Ray was introspecting. So I guess that comes through.
ছেলেবেলায় বাপ মার মৃত্যু দেখেছি, তারপর আত্মীয় অনাত্মীয় মিলিয়ে অনেক মরা কাঁধে করেছি। মৃত্যুর সম্বন্ধে কেমন জানি একটা ক্যালাস ভাব এসে গেছিল, কিন্তু শঙ্করদার মৃত্যুটা যেন কিছুদিন মানতে পারছিলাম না।
Ray believed in close-ups, and his films are not verbose. They're very short and succinct dialogues. So I think he uses a human face to its advantage. And to him, I think eyes are very important. I mean, everything is important, but voice and eyes are extremely important. In his films, like in Nayak, train is a character. In the trilogy, the railway track, the train, again, is a character. His location suddenly becomes very important, and all those train scenes, because you couldn't do it on actual location, except for the station, everything was done indoors with no proper facilities or equipments. Back projection, for instance, is a technical triumph. That train was recreated by Bongshi Chandragupta, and all those back projections, those days, was done by Shubroto and Bongshi, and with absolutely minimal budget, shoestring budget, this was done. And with so much of, not having everything, paucity of funds and everything, they competed with the best in the world. It was always a pleasure to work with him. I think he just loved cinema, and he just bought books and music. I don't think he had any other expense. I mean, he was entirely committed to cinema.